Okay, this is a slightly different approach than your book gives. I think it's an easier approach, and you learn the pen tool just as well. Uh, it's a really good idea to have your layers panel open and your paths panel open. Okay, here, so you can see what's going on. Okay, and we don't have any paths yet, but we're going to get the pen tool. The three most important tools with the pen tool, there's the pen, and then you skip over, if you have the tools in a long strip, right under the type tool is the arrow tool. The black arrow selects an entire path. The white arrow you can select the entire path, or you can select individual anchor points. The pen tool, this first pen tool is what's important, and then the convert point tool. And we'll talk about that more as we go along. So we are going to follow, and right now I want to go on the out. This is the template we're using to follow, provided by Classroom in a Book. And we're going to get the regular pen tool. Now I want you to notice the pen tool has like an asterisk. That means that it's not on a path, and it's not. We haven't even started one. So let's click the A as they're asking us to. Click. And then we'll click B and drag to the end of the red dot. And notice there's no asterisk anymore because we're drawing a path. Then we'll click C and drag to that red dot. And click D, and it's a very short drag to that dot. And then go all the way straight down and click the E. Now you can hold the Shift key. One thing I noticed when I hold the Shift key is it cuts off a little bit of the left side of the, or actually screen right side of the cup. But we're going to do some editing, which the lesson didn't include. So I didn't hold the Shift key, and I got a better line. I've done it both ways. So we're going to click F and drag to the red dot. Click the black G and drag to the red dot. Click H, and then no dragging to the I. And then click the J and drag to the red dot. Click the K and short drag to the red dot. Click the L, and there's a drag to the red dot. Click the M. Click N, no drag. And then go up to A, and you'll see the little circle. And there you have it. Now, to me, I'm going to go to the zoom tool. This doesn't look close enough to the cup, and it's not. So we're going to have to do some editing. Now, your book had said hit return, and you'll tell Photoshop that you're done with the path, which is true. And look in here. Here's your path. It says work path. The other way to do that is get the white direct selection tool and just click, and now Photoshop knows you're done with that path. I'm going to go back to the pen tool, mainly because I want to talk about some shortcuts here. I'm going to hold the Command key on the Mac and the Control key on the PC. I just want to drag this anchor point. Let's see, I have to select it. Just notice this only this anchor point is filled in. All the others aren't. That means this is the one you're going to be moving. And you want to move it with the direct selection tool. And then I'm going to select this one. See, it's filled in, and I'm just going to bring this in a little closer. So I've got a little better line. This one looks like it could go up a little bit. It almost looks like you could make it curve. You could hold the Option key. Now notice, when you hold the Option key, if you're not right on the anchor point, you see an asterisk. But as you move to the anchor point, it turns into the Convert tool. So Convert tool will make it a curved point. And then you don't want to do any more to it. let go, hold the Command or Control key. Option key would be Alt on a PC. So we're starting to edit points, and that's one of the powerful things about the pen tool. So I'm going to hold the Command key, Control key on a PC, because I just want to move this one slightly in. And not too bad, not too shabby. There's your work path. Now we want to make sure we save it. Save path, cup. Now it's saved. Now that doesn't mean we can't update it. Right in here, I'm going to draw so we have the inside of the handle. I'm going to hold down the space bar because it'll give me the hand temporarily. And then I am going to turn off the outside of the cup template, turn on the inside handle. Now we're going to do we've got the cup. Here we've got the cup. If you can see the thumbnail. If you go to the white direct selection tool, you can see all of the lines. Some look like they need some editing. For example, over here, we're going to now make the inner part of the handle. I made it already, so I'm going to make it again. I'm going to delete that. Delete. There, now all points are deleted. So we don't have the inner part of the handle. So what we want to make sure we do is we're going to go back to the pen tool, and up here in your options bar, you want to exclude this from overlapping shapes. So we're going to follow our little template here. See the asterisk next to the pen means we haven't started a path. I'll click on A, and now we don't have the asterisk anymore. I'll click on B and drag to the red dot. Click on C and drag to the red dot. Click on D, drag to the red dot. Click on E, drag to the red dot. Now we have a couple choices here. You can hold down the Option key and delete this control handle, or we can break the handles by hitting the anchor point. I'm going to click on this handle. See, I broke it? Now a lot of people like to drag this down saying, now we're going in this direction. If we want to totally get rid of it, we can click here, and now it's gone, and we can let go of the modifier key and click the A because we want to end where we started. And again, your book says you can hit the return key. On the PC, it's, I believe, an enter key. It's not on the extended part of the keyboard, it's on the center of the keyboard. But another easy way, hold down the Command key or Control key, no matter, depending on what platform you're on. See the white arrow? Click, and you're done with the path. And now if you look at this up here in your paths panel, you have the cup, and you have, I'm going to hold down the modifier key, the Command key or Control key on the PC, and add it to, if we can even do this, draw like this marquee. See this marquee? It's very subtle around. And there is your path. Now, what we want to do is we want to make a custom shape. Shapes are vector. Shapes are, this is the custom shape icon. Usually the rectangle is what's showing, but if you want to see all the custom shapes, which are up here, and this is all of them. I mean, if I go up here, I'm going to go up here and reset shapes. And I'm just going to, usually I append to add libraries to each other, but I'm going to just say okay, don't save. And there are basic shapes. If you want to load every shape in the library, the one nice thing about custom shapes is you can load them all at once. Boom. Append, and there are all the shapes. And I'm going to reset again so we can see what we're doing here. Reset shapes, say okay, and now we've got just those default shapes. So over here, because I've got everything selected, I'm going to go to Edit, Define Custom Shape. See the shape? We've got our coffee cup. We've got the handle. I'm just going to call it coffee cup. Say OK. And now if you look up here, hover over your coffee cup, there is your own personal vector icon. So let's draw it. Now the book had us have a stroke and had us be in shape, not path. I like to be in path when I'm just drawing a path, unless I'm drawing a filled in shape, but they had us be in stroke and no fill. So I'll show you what happens. I'm here in the custom shape tool. I want to go get my coffee cup. I'm going to draw my coffee cup. I'm going to hold the shift key to make it there is my coffee cup. I don't want it outlined in green. So I go over to the stroke menu and click the little diagonal red line. Then I go to the fill menu and I want it to be black. So I'm going to go down here and pick black from here for right now. So there is, you just made a custom shape out of the outline of the cup. Now what we want to do is I went and got the lightning bolt. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the top. So get the lightning bolt, and we're going to make a lightning bolt. What you have to make sure is that you are in exclude overlapping shapes, because we're going to draw the lightning bolt onto the cup so that it's like see-through. So click and drag. Sometimes you have to experiment. It's hard to remember what's what. There's my cup, and here's my shape. We don't need these templates anymore. We drew the handle, we drew the outside of the cup, so we're cleaning this up. This is the tiny cup. Now what we want, this is the shape. I'm just going to name it tiny cup in my layers panel so I know what's what. Now I really don't want it black. I want it red. Now there's a number of different ways to get it, but I'm going to get it by going through the layers. I'm going to pick a dark red, and I also want to add a bevel and emboss. I can double click over here to bring up the layer styles. I'm going to cancel that for a second. Or I can go down to the FX because I know I want bevel and emboss, and click bevel and emboss. A little bit much. I'm going to change the size of the bevel to 3. I'm also going to change it from smooth to chisel. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to drag this down. And now I want 3 more. A very easy way to copy something like this. On the Mac, Option key, on the PC, Alt, 1, 2, 3, 3 more. That means there's 4 of them down there. All right, we're going to bring in the logo type. Now, your book talks about link it to this file or embed it. The thing is, linking it is fine. It can go back and reference the original file. Very much like Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, you have to make sure when you give it, if you give it to a client, it's embedded, because if it's linked, you're going to have to make sure you have the folder with anything that's linked, or it won't be able to find its reference. I'm not sure if that makes a lot of sense. I hope it does. They tell us to link it in the book. I prefer embedding it, but let's take a look. I'm going to deselect all of these by just clicking in the dark spot there. Let's see. According to your book, this is the part of the book I don't mind too much. It says, select the coffee cup layer. I'm sorry, the coffee cup layer. All right. Okay, the coffee cup layer. Oops. You can open as smart object. Oh, you can play. I like opening as smart object. You can place embedded or place linked. So we'll place linked. Here's the logo type. We're in lesson 8. Place. There it is. Now, if you notice, if you hit the return key, it is a smart object and it is linked. It's linked to what I have on my desktop. That's the only thing I don't like about linked if you're going to go show a client. For working, it's great because you can always access the original and never lose resolution. So if you can change it, I believe, to embed. Well, I'm going to move this. We want the I have my history panel open because I've been going back over stuff. Here, make sure you're on the logo type layer. And what we're going to do is we are going to Command T, and we're going to make this a nice big. Move this over here. I want you to look at paths and things, so move everything kind of over. And I'm going to hit return. Excuse me. I hit the enter key on my extended keyboard. Let me go back. I'm just going to go back a couple steps. Free transform. And what I often teach, I'm holding both the shift key and the option key. What I often teach is it transforms maintaining the aspect ratio, and it transforms from the middle. So we're going to move this over. I let go of the keys now that I've transformed it. And instead of hitting the check mark, which will apply this, I hit the enter key on the extended keyboard. If you're on a laptop, you have to hold down the FN key when you hit return. So it might be good to get in the habit of hitting the check mark. So we've got the check mark. Since this is linked rather than embedded, and we didn't have to bring it in as linked, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the other way to bring it in. Let's see. We're going to place embedded, logo type, place. I'm going to make this really big. I'm going to move it up. Now it's rasterized, I believe. I'm going to click the little check mark. No, it isn't. It's a smart object. I personally would do it this way. Your book says linked. I think, like I said before, linked is fine, but you must supply this graphic every time you take this project somewhere. You must make sure that it's in the folder with the graphic, because it's going to look for what it's linked to, and it's linked to something outside of your project. It's a little confusing. That's why I'd prefer you bring it in as embedded. I'm not going to grade you down. Now, what we want to do is we want to make this the same color as these. So what we can do is, again, we could go over here, double click, and bring up layer style, click overlay. Here in the color chip, go down here. Once you go outside, you can click the color of the cups. Okay. Okay. Not only that, if you hold down the option key, Alt key on the PC, and drag the bevel and emboss, you've got the same bevel. We need one more cup. See, we've got our tiny cups. I'm going to just do a Command or Control J, depending on what platform you're on. So I've got copy 4. I'm going to drag it up over here, and because it's vector, I can go to free transform and it won't lose any resolution. Make a nice big cup that goes with the title and hit the check mark. And now we have duplicated the entire lesson a slightly different way, and I think a little easier. So you can choose whatever way you want to do it, but I am going to well, you'll be able to get this off of YouTube and also off of the temp storage. There's one thing I actually thought I'd included and hadn't. So while I've got this up, I'm going to just show you. If you start making, see, these are all your tiny little cup layers. Let's say you make your copies, but one cup ends up being just a little bit higher, and another cup, I'm holding down the command key and I'm going to click this cup because that's the cup I want. It happens to be this one. It went right to that layer. I'm going to move this over here, hold down the command key, click that one, and move this one over there and down. So let's say you get there with your little cups at the bottom. We haven't even done this, or you did this first, the top part, where you made it into a smart object, embedded or linked. You imported it that way. We're going to deal with these little cups, but you have to select them all. So let's make sure. I'm not sure which one is married to the logo. Not that one. Let's hold down the command key, control key on the PC. That's the one. So I'm going to rename this Tiny Cup logo. Tiny Cup logo. That'll be good enough, although it's not the ones on the bottom. So you have to select them all. Hold down the command key or the control key on the PC. They're all blue. They're all selected. You have to make sure you're in the Move tool so that you get the options bar. And these are the alignment tools. The first thing I'm going to do, which is easy, I know this alignment icon quite well, align bottom edges. So watch them now. They all go to the bottom. But the spaces between them are not even. And if you want them even, now again, this is something I've had to experiment over and over, and I still experiment. I believe it's distribute horizontal centers. Yep, that's what it is. If I undo that, let me do it again. If I click align, let's see, this is horizontal centers. Distribute vertical centers, watch what happens. Nothing. But if I click distribute horizontal centers, they all move and they have the same space. You want to get somewhere in the ballpark of them being close and of what you want. If one's way off, it's not perfect, but just get them kind of lined up, and then you can double check that either the top or bottom are aligned, and that the horizontal center, that the space between each one is the same. And I realized I hadn't added that, so I'm adding it at the end, just so you'll know. All right, have fun.